Welcome to this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie. This one's going to look a little different, it's going to feel a little different, and it's going to sound a little different. I was fortunate enough to have a booth at the NRA annual meetings Radio Row, which is something new the NRA is doing at their annual meetings. I was able to do a number of audio-only interviews, and what you're about to hear is one of those. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do. If you're listening to the show in podcast form, please leave a positive review. And if you like the show, share it with your friends, because that is how we get the Stagecoach across America. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie. This is a Riding Shotgun with Charlie pit stop. It is coming to you from the NRA annual meetings in Atlanta 2025. And I have with me, let me bring it up. I have with me David Lucas from Mean Arms. David, it's good to see you.
You too, Charlie.
So it's weird. I don't want to say it's weird for me to do audio only, but this is what I'm doing here. And we met a couple years ago at SHOT Show.
Yes.
And I never think that I don't know how many people watch the show, but I walked by and we were checking out. I was with one of my friends. And we were checking these out, and you're like, "Oh my God, you're the guy in the car." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." So that I felt it's nice when people recognize you. It's also nice when people don't recognize you, but that's okay too. But anyway, you guys make a product that is, I hate saying it's required in occupied territory. But after I found out about your products, I went out and bought a couple for myself, because in the, as I call them, the occupied territory states, these are things that you need to speed load 10 rounds into an AR, right?
Yes, we call it the MA loader, and it's designed for states, like you said, where they're, in some cases, they have to lock the magazine into their lower. And in that case, instead of having to pivot the upper off the lower to load it, we offer the loader that will go through the ejection port and load up to 10 rounds in one string. Just put your thumb in the loop of the loader and push in, and it will load down into the magazine through the ejection port.
That is a pretty wild concept. And the first time I tried it, it was a little awkward. I did a what was I doing? I was helping with some, I think it was like a Women on Target or something. And okay. I was in charge of teaching people how to shoot the AR, and I used it all day long. It was great. It was
awesome.
It was very cool. Very cool. So yeah, I have a couple. How did it come about? How did it come about, and what else do you guys produce?
Sure.
So it's two questions in two directions.
Yeah, definitely. No, I work with I'm not the brains of the operation. I work with some really smart guys, and they looked at problems in the marketplace. They said, hey, these folks in California, New York, and wherever else are having a tough time loading their ARs for situations where they lock the magazine in. Maybe there's something we can do to help them. Mm-hmm. And that led to a lot of CAD modeling and a lot of prototypes, and eventually ended up with the MA loader that goes through the ejection port. When you look at it, it's one of those things that looks really simple. Mm-hmm. And why didn't I think of that? That's a big hole right yeah. next to where the magazine is. But I think we were the first on the market, and as far as I know, one of the most unique products to do that. There are other guys that let you load the magazine in different ways. But for us, we were even able to scale it up to the AR-10. So we have two different versions of loader. Wow. We have the AR-15, which we're handling here, and then we also have a larger one that's just basically the same thing but scaled up, and it fits an AR-10 for 308.
Cool. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, these things are really cool. You pop the 10 rounds in, you pull this down, you pop the 10 rounds in, and you push them right in. It's pretty ingenious.
Yeah, like I said, the guys back at the home office are really, really great at designing and coming up with new ideas. And that's what also led to the Endomag, which is what a lot of folks know us for. It's a conversion for your Magpul PMag 30 round Gen 2 or Gen 3.
Yeah.
Pull the guts out of it, put our Endomag product into it, and it converts it from 5.56 to a 9mm magazine.
Really?
Yes.
That is pretty wild.
So for the folks out there that have heard of Mean Arms, a lot of them, that's where they first heard of us.
Gotcha.
converting, and really that was our entry into the 9mm market, and now we're kind of known as 9mm gurus. But yeah, in the early days of the Endomag, we looked at, hey, after all of these sprees of purchasing after political scares, there are a lot of extra AR lowers sitting in people's closets or in their safes. 9mm is becoming more and more popular.
Right.
How do we help more people get into that segment of the market? And our idea was, well, if they don't need a Glock lower, if they can use that 5.56 lower that they already have, and give them a reliable magazine, that's our entry point. That's our niche. So
that's cool.
We came up with the Endomag, and eventually that started out. All Endomags were limited to up to 30 rounds. We have smaller capacity versions based on the PMags, but up to 30 rounds. And eventually we came up with two different versions. So if you think about most 9mm lowers on the market, they include an injector, a static mechanical ejector built into the lower that's usually attached with a couple of fasteners. And if you're using a 5.56 lower, you of course don't have that. So our solution was we fixed that by putting the ejector on the magazine. So most Endomags included an ejector for their blowback upper. But the Endomag also led to what a lot of people know us for as well, and that's our new uppers that we're not new now, but our uppers that we're selling on the market for PCC. We were actually approached by a federal law enforcement agency years ago, and one of our salesmen received a phone call, someone identifying themselves from this federal agency, and he thought it was a prank call. He hung up on him, but eventually they called back. Maybe the second or third time they called, we actually believed them.
It is us.
Yeah, and they wanted to meet us and talk to us about the Endomag because they were looking at training for their ranges. They wanted to expand options for their trainees. More ranges. Obviously, they have some outdoor ranges, but some of their ranges are indoor. Some of them don't like rifle rounds on the range.
Right.
But they needed to train with their service rifles. And so they were looking at the Endomag saying, well, that even looks exactly like a PMag, a 5.56 mag. Maybe we can use that with 9mm, get a different upper, but use their standard lower so they have all their same trigger, all their same controls. Everything else would be the same. Same magazine manipulation, reloads, all of those things would be the same for training purposes. And so that led to us working with them with the Endomag. And at the end of that meeting, they looked at us and they said, well, now that we know about the Endomag, what upper would you recommend that we run 9mm with your Endomag? And we looked at them and he said, we have enough experience in this marketplace with enough blowback uppers that we're not criticizing the other companies, but we just don't think a blowback system is there's enough safety involved because of the chance of out of battery. There's also a lot more recoil than there should be for a 9mm system because there's no locking in battery. So that led to the development of our bearing delay system. For us, I'll skip some of the early iterations, but eventually it led to what we call bearing delay. We basically take the concept of a HK roller delay system that has two cylindrical rollers, and we replace their two rollers with 3-ball bearings. So that's why we call it bearing delay.
Gotcha.
But the bearing delay system, the bearings push outward as they move into battery. So when it goes into the battery, it pushes the balls outward. It locks into our barrel extension on the back of our 9mm barrel. And then when it fires, that gives you your delay, but it also gives you recoil mitigation because it has to push the bearings inside the bolt before it will cycle. And so that makes it much softer shooting than all those blowback 9s out there. It also makes it safer because there's no chance of an out of battery. When the bolt is actually forward and the balls are inside the bolt, the firing pin's not long enough to reach the bolt face. So even if it did try to fire when it wasn't in battery, the firing pin's not physically able to reach the bolt face.
That sounds pretty wild. That's really cool.
The best part about the bearing delay system, though, is that it's completely tunable. So if you remember or you're familiar with an MP5, they have what they call the locking pieces that are basically wedges with different angles on them. Okay. So apply that, but it's 3-dimensional for us. So to take it apart, to change what we call them lifters, But to disassemble the bearing delay BCG, you just twist the bolt either direction, and it comes straight off the front. And that gives you access to the lifter. It has 3 grooves on the end of it that interface with those bearings from the inside. So you swap one of those that has a different set of angles on the end, and that allows you to tune it, slow it down, or speed it up based on your ammo, or maybe you're running a suppressor, whatever it is.
That's kind of cool that you got some variety there, some options.
Yeah, and it was about 2.5 years ago, or I guess it was about 1.5 years ago. We were at SHOT Show 2024, and we had started selling the uppers, and they were very popular, but we didn't really know what the market was going to turn into for the bearing delay, or what direction it was going to go. Initially, because of our contacts with federal law enforcement, we thought it was going to be trainers and law enforcement and military that wanted a training solution, and we have sold a lot of them in that bracket. But what's been interesting is that we had a very high-level competitive shooter that approached us at SHOT Show in 2024, Zach Smith, PCC competitive shooter, and he kind of prodded and helped us go down that road in the competitive shooting world and kind of move into that territory, which was new for us at the time. And since that happened, we actually had the national championship for PCC, which was in Alabama back in October. Max Leograndis used our system to win the U.S. national championship, the USPSA championship. So that was very exciting for us. And now we're prepping for the World Shoot in Czech Republic in about 3 weeks.
Oh, my gosh.
So we have more than a third of the U.S. team using the bearing delay systems.
Wow.
We have a special edition version of the bearing delay. It's called the MAUL, M-A-U-L. Mean Arms, Unrivaled Lightweight. Unrivaled is who we're partnered with. They're doing the muzzle device and the buffer system.
Oh, my gosh.
To kind of tune it and get it just right. But as I said, more than a third of the team. We have 3 sponsored shooters. We're working with the Mikulix. Jerry and Lean are both using it, so that's been hugely exciting to talk to them and work with them to have them shooting it. Justine Williams and her sister Jaylise are both using it as well.
Nice.
I mentioned Zach Smith and Max Leograndis, Ashlyn Champagne. I know I'm going to forget a bunch of people, but the reigning rifle world IPSC champion is Kyle Litzy. He's also using it.
Oh my goodness,
so,
dude, this is fantastic.
Yeah, so we're very excited about the upcoming competition in the Czech Republic, and then a lot of them. I didn't even talk about our newer magazine. We actually came up with an update beyond the Indomag. One of the criticisms that we had for the Indomag is that it was only limited to 30 rounds because it was based on PMAG architecture.
Right.
And that was just our initial design. So since then, we've come up with our entirely new design for a magazine. We still make the Indomags; they're still popular, but we have a new magazine that comes in 5 different sizes. I brought 3 different sizes with me. Standard capacity 40 round and standard capacity 32, and then we have 3 smaller sizes, a 20, and then 15 and 10. And then each of those comes with or without ejector, like I talked about earlier for the Indomag. If you're using the bearing delay system, we have an ejector built into the BCG. It's actually right in the center of the bolt face, which is unusual. But if you're using a blowback, that's the ejector right there on the top of the magazine.
Oh, yeah.
We're looking at one of the 20-round XM-Mag now. And then this is a smooth top version that would work with bearing delay, or it also works with CMMG's radial delay systems that have their own ejector as well.
These are kind of cool, man.
Yeah, so these are standalone 9mm magazines that work in a 5.56 lower. Ejector version if you have a blowback, or ejectorless for our bearing delay systems.
It sounds to me like I need to get a new upper so I can try these things out. That is really cool. You guys are really doing a lot of great stuff.
Thank you.
How long has the company been around?
Mean Arms has been around since around, I guess 2011, 2012, before I started there.
Right.
But what's interesting is the family that started Mean, family business, the guys, their family, they've been doing injection molding in Georgia for 55 years, or I think over 55 years now. So that's why so many of our products are polymer. We do all of our injection moldings in Georgia, actually here in the Atlanta area. So
very cool.
Right up the road in Woodstock, not far away.
Nice. How much is the gas out there, by the way? I had to get some gas this morning. It was $3.69. I'm like, this is crazy.
Is that crazy high or crazy low?
Crazy high.
Okay.
Right. In my hometown, it's $2.60. I go to the cheapest place in town. It's $2.69.
Sure.
But $2.64 if you pay in cash.
Okay.
So
I know there are places. I honestly I don't even remember. I know sometimes it's under $3, but
Yeah.
I haven't paid that much attention lately.
Gotcha.
For
All
being
right.
honest.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because I got down to the point where my car's telling me, "Hey, man, you need to get some gas or start pushing." And I went to a gas station this morning, and they didn't have gas. Like every pump they had was out of service.
Really?
And I'm like, all right, this
That's unusual.
This is going to turn into The Walking Dead, for God's sakes.
Yeah. Which is filmed not far from here.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. So anyway, I'm totally off track on that. Totally off track. Very cool. Well, we need to wrap it up here.
Okay.
These are great. Thank you for coming by. I'm glad that we could finally work something out and have you on the show to talk about these. You guys have so much more going on. All I thought you guys were doing, and this is me staying in my lane. I just thought you guys did the speed loaders for ARs. I thought they were really cool. So I'm like, I'm going to have you guys on. You have the bullet, what is it? The fixed mag? No, wasn't there was a button or something? No. Okay. All right. Well, never mind. Never mind. I'm getting two different companies mixed up, so I apologize. But anyway, I think these things are great. The new mags are really cool, and this is quite a concept with the bearing delay.
Yes.
Bearing delay. That's pretty wild. All right. Well, listen. Where can people find Bearing Arms on all the social medias?
Yeah, so meanarms.com is the easiest way to find us. And then social media, Instagram is mean_arms.
Yep.
Twitter is just meanarms or @meanarms. And Facebook, I think it's meanarms, but we're there too.
Right.
We're not on TikTok as far as unless somebody else did it without telling me.
Right.
But Instagram is probably that's where we're strongest social media wise.
TikTok is really, really fussy.
Yeah.
I had one buddy.
I'm too old for it. I haven't tried.
This is what my daughter told me 4 years ago. She's like, "Dad, don't start TikTok. It'll ruin your life." I'm like, "No, but it'll be fine, sweetheart. I got it under control." I don't have it under control. I got booted off once, and then I told my kids I was too hot for the talk. And then she's like, "That's stupid, Dad. Don't say that again." So,
probably true, though.
Probably. Anyway, well, listen. Thank you guys so much for being on. Are you guys going to any other events this year? Are you guys going down to Goals?
I don't know. Honestly, we're pretty small, so we're spread pretty thin already. We always go to Vegas for SHOT in January.
Cool.
We don't always come to this, but we're here this year.
Because it's local. That's awesome.
It was easy. It was an easy drive.
Piece of cake.
Other ones, we'll see. I don't know, honestly know.
All right, very cool. Well, we're going to put some links below, and I thank you so much for being on. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you.